The following video is presented to you by the EA Game Changers. Thank you so much to EA for flying me to Orlando to take part in this early capture. Chewy Nation, ChewbaccaLemma here back with another Madden 20 exclusive gameplay. Here we are taking on an ultimate challenge, and today we're actually going to look at an RPO guide for this video, because I don't think anybody else, I was talking to other people there, nobody really was focusing on RPOs, and I know a lot of you guys, I mean me included, were excited but also a little bit worried that these would be too game breaking. I honestly thought they would be the other way. They would just end up being something that's no good at all with balancing and stuff. I thought that they would not be useful in my opinion. But I think what I found is that they tend to be decently balanced, and you'll see that hopefully in this game. Again, this is against a CPU defense, so take that for what it is. We're going to go into concept, and we're going to go to the RPOs. There's 3 different RPOs, which we're going to discuss here in a minute, but we're going to run a few so you kind of get the gist of it if you're not sure. Run pass option, that's what RPO means, so pretty straightforward. You can either run it or you can pass it. One thing that a lot of people were mentioning in the forums is that there is way too many illegal man downfield when you pass the ball in RPOs. Remember that these have to be instant. You have to throw these balls super fast if you don't want to get that penalty. You're never really going to get a penalty if you immediately push the button. I shouldn't say never, because you know sometimes things happen, but if you push the button right when you hike it to pass the ball to your receiver, as you see, these swing passes when you have blockers out front, I think to be the move. They seem really good. But if you push it right away, you really shouldn't get those penalties. It has to be instant though, because there's got to be obviously a punishment for these plays, because they are, you know, as you may expect, they can be really good being able to pass and to run. If you're interested in what the 3 differences are, which hopefully, you know, I'm going to mention anyway, you have the RPO peek option where the quarterback reads the backside linebacker to decide if he wants to pass it or run it. RPO read option where the quarterback reads the defense to decide if to hand the ball off, keep it, or pass it, similar to a triple option. And then the alert looks at the pre-snap leverage and throws a quick pass, otherwise runs the ball. So the triple option one, the RPO read, I think to be the most interesting one, especially if you're not running somebody like Drew Brees like myself. So that's probably not the best idea. I just had Brees in my lineup, like I want to go ahead and try it. Probably should have got Lamar Jackson or even a Kyler Murray, something like that, Cam Newton, to really show off that RPO read. But let's go ahead and look at it. We'll see the receiver there. We can hit the slant. If you want to hand the ball off, you need to hold the A button. Hold the A or X on PlayStation. I think there might be a few RPOs where the primary is the running back, so then you don't have to hold it would just automatically hand it off if you don't push anything. But pretty much all of these RPOs, and I could be wrong on that, you have to hold the A button or X on PlayStation if you want to hand the ball off. If not, the quarterback would just hold on to the ball, and you got to throw it. You got to throw it quick too, or you're going to get a penalty for illegal man downfield. Because of course the offensive line doesn't know what you're going to do. Are you going to pass it or you run it? So they want to go downfield. If you're running it, they want to, you know, keep going downfield to get a huge gain. Here, I took just a half. That's split second. That one was really close, but I took just a half second too long, and I did not spam it right away. You have to throw it. Sometimes you get away with it with a little bit of, you know, a little late, but if you don't hit it right away, it might be a illegal man downfield, which is the punishment. I didn't throw it right away, and definitely if you make a wrong read on these when you're passing, those corners, like you see, if I would have threw that might have been a pick 6. So you have to make those split-second decisions on running or passing, which to me means it's decently balanced. Now, when people get really good at making the read, perhaps these things you might think they're going to be overpowered. But one thing that I found is that man coverage plays against these extremely well, and the big thing that you may have not heard or not seen, you know, if you haven't played the game, if you pass commit, it will keep your secondary players from biting. They'll kind of stay out there. So pass commit, I know that does maybe suscept you, you know, to the run, but if you're like don't want your guys to come in, you can just pass commit, and then if they do make the wrong read, I mean, it very well could be a pick 6. So keep that in your back pocket. Honestly, if you're struggling to stop it, I think man coverage, and then you can make adjustments out of it if you're worried about they're running certain like corner routes or something like that. You can make adjustments to stop those, but you see we fumble here. I didn't want to throw it, made my wrong read. Wanted to pass it. I did not want to throw a pick six though. So definitely warming up to this RPO. You know, we're learning. I think everybody's gonna struggle a little bit at the beginning, unless you're a natural. I guess I'm not a natural because it's 0-0 running all RPOs. So here we got the B. These when you have blockers out front, you see like these seem like the really good ones. We cut up field. Unfortunately, it's Davante Adams and not somebody with a little bit more speed. So we end up getting caught from behind, but still a huge play there for Davante Adams, and we go ahead and pick up a huge gain. So that worked out really well. You see everybody bite down. You got blockers out front, and we're going, you know, not for 6, but a huge, absolutely huge gain. So definitely, if you're on defense, hit that. This one is the cookie special. I think this was the same one I got called on a penalty before, but they play that much better this time. But Cookie Boy, I played him in a game, which I might put out. I probably will later on. He really liked that option play. Again, he likes Arizona as well, as I do. A lot of people like Arizona playbook. It has gun bunch quads, so I ran that last year. Only the Chiefs had it. Now a few playbooks have a handful. So I think Arizona might be the move for me, at least day one. We're setting up this 1st and 10 as we're methodically moving down the field. We decide to pass it, and you see if the corner stayed back, played it really well, sometimes they'll attack it, and that's a pick six. So again, you just got to be a little bit weary of throwing it. If you have a mobile quarterback, though, you can go ahead and take off. You could always take off if you have the space to do it. But again, if you take a hit with your quarterback, you're going to fumble even more so in 20. I've noticed. I think on a run play, I mean, pretty much every time in 19 you would fumble as well. But on pass plays, on design runs, you're going to fumble a lot. As in Madden 19, you didn't really fumble on design runs. This year, if it's a design run, so on those RPO reads, you really don't want to be taking hits, even if your quarterback is, part of the play as a runner. Unlike last year, if it was like a QB draw, you could just run with your quarterback, take a hit, and a lot of times they wouldn't fumble. You've got to be really concerned about taking hits this year. And the reason they do that is look at those blockers. So I took did you see how I took a little bit longer there? Thankfully did not get called for a penalty, and Julio goes ahead and does the rest. Juke. Touchdown. Huge play with the RPO right there. But what I was saying was there's no punishment for taking hits with your quarterback like you would see in a sim style, which is why they went ahead and made fumbling less on sim for quarterbacks, because if you take a hit with your quarterback in the NFL, you may not fumble every time, but you really don't want to do that because your quarterback is so valuable. As you see, we actually run the ball with a stretch there, which worked really well. But you don't want to be taking hits with your quarterback because the risk of injury and the quarterback being so valuable to the team, obviously. In MUT or in competitive, they don't want to have injuries because it's too random. Obviously they don't want to have your guys being injured in games that matter for the competitive side. So they took injuries out, but with that, they the balancing of mobile quarterbacks, that's part of the balancing that they have done, is to make it where they fumble pretty much every time they take a hit. I don't necessarily think they should be fumbling like every time, but it is kind of one of those things that it does kind of take away a dice roll, where it's just if you take a hit, you're gonna fumble pretty much every time. So in that way, I guess it kind of makes sense, because less dice rolls is usually a better thing when it comes to Madden. So I don't know, that's just something to think about if you are going to run with your quarterback. Just be a little bit safe. Maybe not take those hits. We juke about with Davante Adams. Again, you saw how great the blocking was out there. So those ones with blocking out front, definitely try those out. I've noticed those would be pretty good. And if you're like, I can't stop these, you found somebody that's running these RPOs and you feel like your defense isn't making plays, you see right there, look at the great block. Well, it wasn't a great block, but it was good enough to set up this great run after the catch. But if you're looking and you're like, I can't stop it, man coverage is really good. Or if you can't stop like the passing out of it, you can go ahead and pass commit if you're not worried about the runs, because some of these runs can obviously go for, you can see I got 5 stars, can go for huge gains, maybe touchdowns when you get out in open space. So if that's something that you're struggling against, there's some counters to it. And obviously, if you hit the guys on the quarterback, if they keep the ball, they're probably going to fumble a decent amount. So pretty much every time. So there again is the peek, the read, and the alert if you want to see the differences between them. The RPO read, I think, is going to be one of the more populars, or all of these are going to be pretty popular. And then moving around with your quarterback, if you have like a Lamar Jackson, could be pretty lethal. But again, just make sure don't take those hits and just have fun with it. I think it could be really fun running these RPOs, make quick reads. If you don't make it quick, you're probably going to get a penalty. Hand the ball off by holding the A or the X button. That's pretty much it. And hopefully showing off the Arizona playbook, showing off some RPOs maybe gives you something to try when you first get the game. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy. That's all I got. ChewbaccaLemma out.